morning, friends. It is Claire from Woodshed Theory, and today we're going to be reading through Tania Marshall's Autism in Females Diagnostic Checklist. So stay tuned and see if it can be of help to you. Hey there, friends. It is Claire, and today I did want to talk about something or bring light to something that was very helpful for me when trying to decide if I should pursue an autism diagnosis, and that is Aspian Girl, Aspian Women advocate Tania Marshall's checklist or diagnostic checklist for women on the spectrum. This blog has been reviewed more than 1 million times since it was written in the 2013-2014 time period and has been updated many times. It's been updated in the last year. It seems that this has been a huge help for women on the spectrum. So I wanted to do a look at this list, kind of read through it for you. I'll link it down below. And that way I can bring more light to this resource for women if you yourself are thinking you might want to start looking into if you are on the spectrum. I think that this is a good place to start. I know that some people actually print this list off and check it off and give it to their diagnostician when they're getting diagnosed for autism to kind of give their diagnostician a starting point. The diagnostic list is broken down into several different categories, the first one being cognitive intellectual abilities. Number 1, tend to have high average to genius intelligence, often but not always, with significant splits between verbal and perceptual reasoning abilities, lower working memory, and or processing speeds, learning disability, for example, dyscalculia, dyslexia, and reading comprehension. Check. Superior long-term memory and a weaker short-term memory. Absolutely. Ask me about something that happened a few years ago. I can describe it to you, but ask me what I had for breakfast. It's gone. May need academic accommodations in university. Well, I think that part of my life is over, but I definitely could have used them. A distinct learning profile consisting of a spiky profile of strengths and weaknesses, peaks and troughs, and learning disabilities and differences. Absolutely, there are some things that I'm super good at when it comes to academics and some things that are not my forte. For example, math often has a rigid negative thinking, inflexible black and white thinking style, or rigidity of thinking. Well, first of all, obviously I can't say that word, but I definitely agree with that. It's really easy when you're undiagnosed to have a rigid negative thinking and suffer from black and white thinking that things have to be one way or another. Context blindness, a lack of insight, I would definitely agree with that, and a lack of social awareness. Ding, 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 that's completely me. The second portion of the list is education and university life symptoms. This part of the list is when I thought, oh wow, that is completely me, so I think I definitely maybe want to check this out further. First, may have dropped out of high school or gone back later, or may have repeated a grade. May have unfinished or partial degrees. May have many finished degrees. May have doctorate of PhD level qualifications. May have taken longer to achieve their education as compared to their peers. I don't have a PhD, but I totally relate to unfinished partial degrees or have finished the degrees but with great difficulty. That was completely me. May have a history of enrolling and attending university classes followed by dropping out of classes or semesters. Sometime later, she then re-enrolls, attends later on in life. This is usually due to being overloaded or overwhelmed, a history of deferring exams, not attending classes, dropping out of classes or programs is common. A history of many doctors and counselor visits throughout university life without any significant improvement. Also completely me, always trying to figure out what was wrong with me and not coming to any conclusions. The next section that the list goes into is your career or your work. Often drawn to helping artistic or animal professions, and often an expert in her chosen field. I know many Aspian women who are successful in the following careers: artists, singers, actors, poets, writers, teachers, psychologists, psychiatrists, special needs teachers, consultants, horse trainers, doctors, scientists, accountants, authors, child care workers, models, comedians, artists, computer-related specialists, animal handlers or zookeepers, university professors, psychics or mediums, entrepreneurs, and photographers. So definitely what I got out of this one is that, number one, as I've talked to you about before, autism can look like anything, and you can really be in any career as an autistic person. I think what this highlights is that level of creativity or knowledge seeking from a autistic female, I think is kind of amped up. May miss days of work due to social exhaustion. Yes. May find great difficulty attending, participating in staff meetings, lunch break, work, social events. Yes. May be a hardworking, conscientious worker. Yes. We struggle with the black and white, so we always want to be on point. May get stressed if you have a lot of work to do in a short amount of time. Yes. May become frustrated, stressed if being asked to do too many things at once. Yes. Tries very hard to avoid making mistakes, but still forgets things. Yes. Next section is social and friendships, relationships. May appear narcissistic, self-centered, egocentric, or caring only about herself due to not understanding written social rules. Yes. That's usually how autistic women relate in my experience, is we make it about ourselves because we're trying to find a common denominator within our experiences. So it may seem like we're being self-centered. Strong preference to engage in conversations related to their special interest. Well, that's just across the board for all autistic people. Strong dislike for social chit-chat, gossip, nonsense, lies, or conversation that lacks a function. But some are known to engage in it themselves. History of being bullied, teased, left out, or not fitting in with same-aged peers unless they have similar Aspie friends. Yes. Has an ability to socialize, however, is unable to do so for long periods of time. Suffers from social exhaustion. Yes. I tend to kind of reach a limit when I'm with a group of people, and then it is my time to go because I am exhausted. Experience great difficulty with conflict, arguments, being yelled at, fighting, war, stress. Yes. Has great difficulty asserting herself, asking for help, setting boundaries. Yes. May need to drink or do drugs to be able to socialize, perform, or be with other people. Well, it certainly does help. May currently have or experience post-traumatic stress, often due to being misunderstood, misdiagnosed, mistreated, and or mismedicated. Social skills differences, is exceptionally good one-on-one and presenting to groups, however, has difficulty working within group situations, 100%. History of being taken advantage of by others, yes. Often bored in social situations or parties, does not know how to act in social situations. May say yes to social events and then make an excuse later as to why she cannot attend. Often prefers to be engaged in her social interest rather than socializing. Others consider her different, odd, eccentric, or weird by others. Yes. May feel like she has to act normal to please others and does not care about fitting in. Copies, mimics, and acts in order to fit in. May be considered a loner or have many acquaintances but no real friends. Social naivety. may believe anything they are being told by others. Sixth section, physiology, neurology. A, highly sensitive, yes. B, sensory processing disorder condition, yes. C, anxiety, stress, or anger. D, may have auditory processing issues, absolutely me. E, may have Earlin syndrome, not sure on that one. F, may grind teeth or have lockjaw from anxiety. G, may have obsessive compulsive disorder or traits. H, may have one or more of the 7 types of ADHD, not diagnosed. I, usually has executive functioning difficulties. 7, physical appearance. Dresses differently from their peers, often eccentric, may dress more for comfort than appearance. Well, I definitely dress more for comfort since lockdown. But when I was younger and not understanding social cues as much, I would wear some crazy business. May not shower or keep up hygiene at times due to different priorities. Yes, I do find it difficult to both take care of myself and get things accomplished. Looks younger than her years. Yes, I think so. Has an unusual voice, maybe childlike, monotone, loud or soft quality to her voice. I think I do have an unusual voice. Lifestyle, section 8. Books, computers, the internet, animals, children, nature may be her best friends. Yes, so not people, but other things. Loves quiet and solitude, peaceful surroundings. May be ultra-religious or not at all. Buddhism appears to be common. I did find that interesting. Relationship choices, sexuality, gender. May date or marry a much older man or younger partners, same gender partner, tending not to see age, gender, but rather the personality of the person first. Yeah, I would agree with that. We don't see people as gendered or aged. We just see them as who they are as a being. Section 10, I did skip a few, but I'm trying to save some time. Special interests in autism. Current research shows that individuals on the spectrum do not have restricted interests, but rather a lifetime of interests that can vary. A special interest may involve a person's career, anime, fantasy, just to name a few, writing, animals, reading, celebrities, food, fashion, jewelry, makeup, tattoos, symbols, and TV series. This is not inclusive. Ability to hyper-focus for long periods of time on your special interests, go without eating or drinking, or using the bathroom, yes. Loves and revels in solitude, peace, and quiet. Solitude is often described as needing it like the air I breathe, yes. Often not interested in what other people find interesting, yes. I'm trying so hard to work on that. Emotional, section 11. Feels things deeply, has over-the-top reactions to events, may have severe depressive attacks that last for a few days, may feel the world is about to end, does not do calm, stress, conflict, confrontation, or fighting, struggles with degrees of emotion, that's a big one for autistic ladies. Facial expressions do not match the situation. I think if you ask my partner about this, he would totally agree. Always saying that I'm making the wrong faces during our exchanges. May think she is being compassionate, but her actions may not come across that way. Yes. Often too sensitive and possesses too much emotional empathy. Yes. Highly sensitive to issues affecting the earth, animals, people, advocacy, justice, human rights, and the underdog. Yes. Some women are quite childlike, not reaching full maturity until 40 years of age. I could see how that would be true. May create her own fantasy world. What can I say? Better than the reality. Section 12, personality characteristics and or traits and abilities. Natural born leader, independent, strong-willed. I think that we're more natural born leaders in that we like to be in control of the situation. High levels of introversion or can be extroverted. I like that they pointed this out because I always felt like an introverted extrovert, and I definitely think that I need more alone time than more people to recover from social situations. Highly creative and may have rushes of original ideas. Yes, I try to write them down as soon as I get them because I might not have them for a while. Dislikes change and may find it disorienting and stressful. highly sensitive to criticism or perceived criticism, dislikes being observed when having to perform, may have been told that she cares too much, does too much, or is too sensitive. Is perfectionistic? Yes. Attention to detail, obsession, special interest, naivety, innocence, trusting too much. Section 13, past or current mental health history. May have a history of self-harm, may have a history of crying a lot without knowing why, may have a lengthy history of going to therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, may have a variety of medications, experiences social anxiety and generalized anxiety, may have obsessive compulsive disorder or traits, may have ADHD, may have experienced ongoing depression or tiredness without knowing why, may have been previously diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. Yes, I was diagnosed with OCD before my diagnosis. A history of depression, anxiety, eating disorders, huge mood swings. Section 14, coping mechanisms, may use alcohol, drugs, smoking in order to cope with intense emotions, may use a different persona when out in public, may change gender or sexuality in attempts to fit in, may have used imitation, social echolalia to pretend to be normal, so mirroring, may need to withdraw into bed or dark area or place of solitude to gain privacy. Section 15. Sixth sense, intuition, psychic abilities. I won't read through this one totally, but yeah, it's generally that emotional intuition I think a lot of people on the spectrum have. Section 16, unique abilities and strengths. May have perfect or relative perfect pitch. Autodidactic, yes, I love to teach myself things. Intelligence, craves knowledge and loves learning, yes. Has a strong will, is determined and independent, yes. Perfectionistic, yes. Remarkable long-term memory, great sense of humor, can work well in a crisis situation, deeply reflective thinker, highly intuitive. I won't read through this whole section just because we're coming up on a lot of minutes, but challenges would be like keeping up appearances, learning disabilities, anything that would come along with trying to pretend that you are not autistic. Section 18, empathy, may have a lack of empathy or hyperempathy. I find this completely true. We either empathize completely where we're focused on that, or we are not empathetic at all because it's something that we don't understand. Black and white. Number 19, may have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I don't know that I have EDS, but I definitely have poor muscle tone and some connective tissue issues. May have intense desire to please others or be liked by others. Yes. Executive functioning difficulties. Yes. May have spent a lifetime using an enormous amount of effort to socially pretend or fake it. Yes. So yeah, I think, this is going to be a long video, but I wanted to read through some of Tanya's list because, as I mentioned, it was really helpful for me when trying to decide if I wanted to pursue a diagnosis. I will link this list down below so that you can look it over if it's something that you're thinking you might want to do. If you read through this list and you find that you relate to almost everything on the list, there's a good chance that you might be autistic and want to get that checked out. What do you think? Did you use this list when you were looking into diagnosis or self-diagnosing? Were there things on the list that you really related to or didn't relate to at all? And do you think that this is a good resource for people who may think they're on the spectrum and don't know where to start? So I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it was helpful, and I hope it brought awareness to a resource for autism diagnosis in the females. And if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day.